Hello and welcome everyone to this webinar for Intro to Generative AI Models. We do this kind of webinar every month, sometimes two in a month, but at least we try to do one per month. And we are part of a company called bigdatatrunk, which was founded back in 2008. We are based out in California in the Bay Area, and we provide technology and soft skills trainings to corporates mostly in, I would say, technology space mostly, but we have business skills and soft skills as well. There's a lot of initiatives around upskilling, boot camps, and so on and so forth. So if you want to check our website, bigdatatrunk.com, you can check. Today's topic is more related to generative AI, and we have lots of different trainings around generative AI. That's been the buzz in the industry. So definitely we are trying to be on the trend, on the curve, and try to present a lot of trainings, whether it is short trainings to workshops. So if you, your team, your company is interested in something like that, that would be something we can try to help with it. So with that said, that's just brief about bigdatatrunk, who is sponsoring and bringing this bootcamp for you today. Today's topic is Introduction to GenAI Models. Kiran from our team is going to present on this topic. So we should have roughly around 40, 45 minutes, 50 minutes max, and then we'll open up for Q&A. Feel free to put any questions on the chat. We'll be monitoring that, and we'll be sharing our insights. So thank you for doing that. We'll be sharing the recording. Absolutely, there's a question in the chat, so answering that. And with that, I'll stop sharing and give it to Kiran to share the screen and take it from there. Kiran, over to you.
Thank you so much, Raju. Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody is doing fine. Let me start my screen share before I start speaking. Just a quick check. Please let me know if you are able to see my screen, and then we can start.
Yeah, we can see and hear you.
Thank you. Yes. So, thank you so much, Raju, for giving a brief introduction about me. So without any further ado, let's get started with the event. So welcome, everyone. Today, the topic of our webinar is generative AI models. I hope everybody is at least a bit familiar with that. So before we start, let us have a quick connect with the subject of today. There's this question. Have you ever tried using ChatGPT? You can put down your messages in the chat box. You can put down your replies in there.
If you want to add, you could add how more, if anything interesting find you have done or interesting way you have used it. Would be curious. I see a lot of folks already putting yes. So that's very common these days.
Yes. So yeah, even in news, we see a lot of uses of ChatGPT nowadays. I'm sure a lot of the folks here also take help of ChatGPT for our tasks. Honestly, I do, and I love playing with it. Then if you have tried ChatGPT, have you seen or have you encountered any experiences with its responses? Did you find them accurate, or did you find any changes in it? Were you able to enjoy the experience? A simple yes could do. That's it. Yes, that's right, Ramya. The answers are not always accurate. Now, that is because the ChatGPT is usually trained on very mass amounts of data, but yet all the data cannot be present everywhere, right? So before we get into before we understand how all of this happens behind ChatGPT, let us understand the root cause of it. So let's discuss today's agenda. In the beginning, yeah. So for today's agenda, we will start by getting an intro to various OpenAI models and also learn about what generative AI is. We will explore their capabilities and the applications they have. We'll learn about things like GPT-3, DALL-E, Clip, Whisper, etc., which are one of the OpenAI models. We will also dive into some practical aspect of using these models. where we'll give a brief on how to get started with the OpenAI Python API. It's actually a powerful tool which allows us to use these models using programs, so we can actually play with them. Next week, next we will be we'll be seeing DALI, because see, we have already seen how text is generated. Most of you have used the chat GPT, but what if generative AI can also create images and also understand speech? So that's what we will be seeing. DALI being an image generator, we will be exploring into the model and how we will see how it generates images from textual descriptions, and we will also see Whisper. This is an automatic speech recognition system which converts spoken language into written context. And if time suffices, we will also see the backend of generative AI, where we will be learning how the API parameters help in influencing the behavior of these models. We will understand how we can also use them in our own applications. So let's get started. Now, imagine you have a friend. That friend is a very good artist, and what you will do is you will ask the friend if that friend can draw a sunset, an image of a blue cat, or even a house shaped like a shoe. Your friend can do that, right? Because he's an artist. But what if we could teach a computer to be like this artist? That is what generative AI models does. But it's not just about drawing pictures. Generative AI models can also write text, compose music, and much more. They can even understand and write complex things like the human language. This is why they are used in many areas, from creating art and music to helping scientists discover new medicines. They learn from a lot of examples, and they can create new things that are similar but not exactly the same. For example, let us look at a simple model. For example, if we give a model some images of dogs and we ask it to find, and if we want to test it, and if we ask it if it is a dog or not, it is because it is already trained to see a lot of images of dogs, it is either going to find it as a dog or as not a dog. So that all depends upon how we are going to train the model. And it can also learn to draw new pictures of dogs that it has never seen before. Now, however, just like an artist needs lots of practice to gain perfection, generative AI also needs a lot to learn from the data. They need examples to understand what to create, and in this process, they might make mistakes or create something unexpected, which is not even present in the world. In layman language, generative models are a fascinating area of technology. They combine creativity and computing. They are like artists that can create a wide variety of things, and they are getting better and more creative every day. Now, let us understand the meaning and definition of generative models. Generative models in the field of machine learning are a class of statistical models. They try to understand how the data is distributed in the training set which we give, so that they can generate their own data points with some variations. These models come under the unsupervised learning methods type of learning category, and they generate new data which resemble the training set data which we provided. Generative models like generative networks, generative adversarial networks, that is GANs, variational autoencoders, that is VARs, etc., like the Gaussian model, are widely used for tasks such as image synthesis, semantic image editing, style transfer, data augmentation, and much more. Now, since we are already talking about GPT-3, DALI, we are going to see all these things. Let us understand who is the father of them. In the context of OpenAI, the organization which have built these models, they've developed a range of generative models, each with its unique capabilities and applications. Some of the most well-known models will be GPT-3 for text, DALI for images, and Whisper for speech recognition. You might have heard of the CEO, Sam Altman. So he, including his group, is the mastermind behind all of these. Let us actually thank them for bringing such a great models for us. Now, let us understand the history of the models. History of generative AI. The journey of Gen AI is actually a fascinating tale of progress and innovation. It begins in the mid-20th century, where the birth of artificial intelligence began, and we started to dream of creating machines that could mimic human intelligence. People started thinking about how to make machines smart like humans. This dream took a significant leap forward in 1960s with the introduction of deep learning. Here, we started teaching machines to learn from their experiences. 1970s took to a greater achievement in innovating the neural networks, another model, making machine models work like the human brain. In the 1980s, the development of various neural network architectures began. Here, we made a big leap in how machine learns from their mistake. The 1990s saw the introduction of more sophisticated models like long short-term memory networks. Here, we created models that can actually remember past information to make future predictions. Next, the 2000s, that is the new millennium, brought with it the development of GANs, generative adversarial networks, a type of model that can create new data similar to what they have already seen before. 2010s to present, the current decade has seen the development of more advanced models like GPT-3 and DALI, which can generate human-like text and create images from textual descriptions, respectively. Now, these advancements from the 1940s to 50s to present are blurring the line between human and machine creativity, which is opening up exciting new possibilities for the future of AI. Let me give an example. One of the most exciting developments in Gen AI is the use of deep learning techniques. Okay, I can give an example of a particular model called as deep convolutional GANs. Even though the faces and the images, what happens is they can generate images that look convincingly like the photographs of human faces, even though the faces in the images do not correspond to the actual people. Interesting, right? Imagine if we were to able to take such technology into a capacity, helping us bring to life what we have imagined. This is what we'll be seeing in our time today, in brief. Now, let us get on with OpenAI. OpenAI is an artificial intelligence research lab. It is made up of both for-profit and non-profit arms. OpenAI's mission is to ensure that artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity. They strive to build safe and beneficial AGI, that is the artificial general intelligence, but they're also committed to helping others so that they can use their models to achieve their outcomes. OpenAI models are like the machine learning models itself. They train to perform tasks across various domains. They can generate human-like text, translate languages, answer questions, and even create original images and designs. These models try to understand and generate content that is coherent and textually relevant. There are several OpenAI models, including GPT-3 for natural language processing, DALI for image generation, as we have just spoken, and we also have the Clip for vision and language tasks, and Whisper for automatic speech recognition. We also have a new model coming up called as the Jukebox. It's a new generative AI model that has been released, which can create high fidelity music in a variety of styles. We can have jazz, pop, rock, etc. It can generate songs with relative sounding vocals and instruments. Some even tested it to generate music in the style of specific artists like the Beatles and Bob Dylan, etc. Imagine if any of you is a singer or a composer, you can easily get one. Now, let us understand what are all these models in brief. GPT-3 or Generative Pre-trained Transformer is a type of, is a state-of-the-art language processing AI. It can generate coherent and contextually relevant sentences. This thing makes it useful for tasks like translation, question answering, and text generation. For example, GPT-3 can generate a poem, write an essay, or even draft an email like we're seeing in the image. DALI is a variant of GPT-3. It is trained to generate images from textual descriptions. It can actually create original images even of the concepts that don't exist in the real world, demonstrating the power of AI in creative tasks. For instance, DALI can generate an image of a two-story pink house shaped like a shoe or a futuristic cityscape at sunset. Just look at how beautiful these images generated are. Now, Clip. Clip, for short, is a contrastive language image pre-training. It connects vision and language. It can understand the images in context with natural language, enabling tasks and general textual descriptions of images. For example, if we give an image of a dog, Clip can accurately describe it as a brown and white dog playing with a ball in the park. If you can see the images below, the examples, you can see that Clip can easily and accurately guess what is exactly in the image. These are the real trained images of Clip. Just for information, Whisper is an automatic speech recognition system. automatic speech recognition system is usually mostly trained on large amounts of data. The data is multilingual because, of course, there are many languages, and it is also a supervised data, and it can also do multitasking. It is usually collected from the web, which is making it useful for tasks like transcription services. For instance, Whisper can transcribe a podcast episode or a lecture or an office meeting with high accuracy, which I guess is very helpful, especially when it is a long, boring meeting, right? Now, Whisper being an OpenAI application has many uses like English transcription, any language to English transcription, non-English, and also it can understand different and provide speechless sounds as well. Now, let us understand the importance of generative AI in brief. We can see the importance is creativity and innovation. Generative AI models can create new content such as text, images, audio, and synthetic data. They can also empower artists, etc., to push their boundaries of creativity. Gen AI can also bring unprecedented speed and creativity to areas like design research and copy generation. It can take business process automation to a transformative new level, through which actually a lot of people nowadays are using generative AI in their business transformations, where most of them are are being transformed from human work to a machine-made work. Product development. Gen AI can lead to faster product development, which can also enhance customer experience, and it can improve the employee productivity. These models can help scientists discover new medicines and innovations in drugs, and they can also help in chip design and material science developments. GenAI models can also be adapted quickly for a wide range of downstream tasks without needing task-specific training. That is where they are being transferred from human-made to the AI-made. And generative AI is also a key part of the society in which people and machines work together. That is what is bringing a big social impact and also an economic impact. Gen AI features could add up to $4.4 trillion to the global economy annually. Imagine such a big amount. New iterations of Gen AI are being released several times a month. For example, GPT has started from GPT-1 to the second model GPT-2, then GPT-3, 3.5, and now we are using GPT-4. But of course, it comes with subscriptions. So all of them are having rapid advancements. This all happened within 1 to 2 years of releasing of GPT. Human level performance. For most technical capabilities, Gen AI is expected to perform at a median level of human performance by the end of this decade. Gen AI is likely to have the biggest impact on knowledge work, especially activities involving decision making and collaboration. In the near future, applications that target specific industries and functions will actually provide more value. By 2025, we are expecting at least 30% of all new drugs and discovered materials could come from generative AI models itself. Other than this, we also have content like the stock images, which are free images, text, and program coding will shift to being largely AI generated. Imagine if you are a very advanced coding developer and you actually get a hand so that it can help finish your code. How good that would be and how time saving would that be? About half of today's business activities could be automated a decade earlier than previous estimates has predicted. Now, let us understand what is OpenAI Python API. Because until now, we have seen some of the prominent OpenAI applications. They are used in daily lives and make our content creation easier. Now we will learn how to bring it on our own applications. Imagine DALL-E or GPT-3 or Whisper or Clip or even Jokebox being into your own applications. You can just use it however you like. That is what we will learn now. I'll pause for a moment. Please let me know if you have any doubts, and I'll be addressing the same from the chat box itself. Thank you. Now, the OpenAI Python API is actually a set of bindings to OpenAI services. It provides a way for developers to interact with the OpenAI's models directly from their Python applications. This is like a bridge that connects your Python program to OpenAI's AI models. It's also like a translator helping your program and the AI model understand each other. Here you can see, because it is all machine learning, artificial intelligence, deep learning, etc., the easiest and the most used language here will be Python. Hence, it is one of the most useful and necessary skills if you want to get into the world of generative AI or even AI. The purpose of OpenAI Python API is to allow developers to leverage the power of OpenAI's models in their own applications. This includes generating human-like text, translating languages, answering questions, and even creating original images and designs. By providing a simple and straightforward way to access these models, the OpenAI Python API enables developers to incorporate advanced AI capabilities into their applications. This can lead to more intelligent and interactive experience with the users. Just imagine nobody would be actually monitoring what you're talking with the generative AI. And you can also use your own prompts, whatever you give to AI, to again pre-train the model. Now, let us understand in brief how it can be installed and used. I'll only be going through the theory because using it as a practical way is not helpful since we have a time constraint. So first begins the installation. First, you need to install the OpenAI Python package. You can do this using the pip module, which is a package manager for Python. The command will be this: pip install OpenAI and version 0.28, and we can just import OpenAI using all this. You can do this using the Google Collaboratory or Jupyter Notebook. Both of them are very good IDEs for Python. But using it in Google Colab is much better because it's a cloud platform and we know how cloud is helpful, right? Now, next is the API setup. We need once you have installed the package, you need to obtain an API key from OpenAI. This key is used to authenticate your requests to the OpenAI API. You can get the key from the OpenAI website after creating an account and agreeing to their terms of use. Let me just show you an example of where you can get it. I hope my my screen is being shared. So once you have logged into the OpenAI, you can see in the platform of OpenAI API keys here, where when you go to the docs, you will be able to see this page coming up, where on the left side, you will be able to find your keys. You just have to click on create new secret key and you have to name it. As soon as you name it, the key will be getting enabled. But it is for a limited amount of usage only. It doesn't have unlimited usages. So after some time of your use, it will be gone by default, and you have to create another secret key for that. And yeah, of course, it is bound to be a secret key because it can actually bring a lot of viruses and everything. So yeah. So after you do that, after you get your key from where I've just told, what you can do is you have to put this line of code in your module. You can use this code openai.api_key, and in these columns, you're going to put your key. Replace your API key with the actual key which you have obtained from the API. After this, we are going to start making the requests. Okay, we're going to start making the requests. We'll be ready to make the request to the OpenAI Python API, for which you can use the openai.chatCompletion.create. This is another module for chat models. If you want to create a simple chatbot, we can start by doing this. Let us take an example of a small thing. Yeah, so this will be the code for our messages. In this example, the system message sets the behavior of the assistant, and the user message is what you want the model to respond to. As you can see, we have taken the response is equals to openai.chatCompletion.create. This is starting our request. Then we take the model GPT 3.5 Turbo. This is a model which we are going to extract. Then we give the messages. Usually we put the messages as in two roles, that is the system role and the user role. System role is what we are telling the system to do. We are asking the system to become a helpful assistant. And the user role is where we are asking it questions. We are asking it who won the World Series in 2020. This is how it happens. This is a basic guide to get you started with the OpenAI Python API. As we will explore more, we will find that we can do much more with the APIs, like we can tweak the behavior of the models. For example, I'm asking it here to become a helpful assistant. I can ask it to write a generative story for me, or I can also ask it to answer a question, translate text, etc. Let us see an example of how we can do those. If we are generating a story, how are we going to change the messages? The system role would be you're a creative writer, and the user role would be write a short story about a brave knight and a dragon. You can actually change your user content to whatever story you want it to create. and you are asking it to print the response. Now, similarly, if you wanted to translate a text, what would be the system rule we'll ask? We'll ask that you are a skilled translator and please translate a particular sentence to whatever language you want it to. Now, here I'm asking it to translate hello, how are you to French. And we are asking it to print the response later on. So this is how we can actually change the behavior of the models, and we can actually play a lot more with it. And we can also change how accurately it is going to give us the answers, which we will be seeing in some later time. So first off, let us start with knowing some of the practical applications. I'll take a pause here. Thank you. DALI is a remarkable technology. It is developed by OpenAI and it is also pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the realm of AI image generation. It is capable of creating unique, never before seen images from textual descriptions. What you do is, have you ever seen any, what do we say? You have an imagination of a big city, okay, and you want to create some characters into it. Now those characters might seem something which are not actually there in the real world. So what are you going to do? You do have a description that I want the face of I want the face of an alien, and I want the body of a human, and I want a tail of a lion, etc. Imagine those kind of crazy imaginations you have. Now what are you going to do is, you're just going to go into the model. You will ask DALI image generator to generate a small, you are giving a small prompt or a line which states, I need an image of a human whose face is like an alien and who has a tail of a lion. Now, what is this going to do? This is going to adhere the creativity of DALI image generator, and I'm pretty sure that is going to create a very funny one to that. We'll come to that, Anastasia. Now, DALI is a variant of GPT-3 model, and it is developed by the OpenAI. It's specifically trained to generate images from textual descriptions. This means you can give it a description of an image, it will generate an image that matches that description. The model is trained using a data set of text to image pairs, okay, which will allow it to learn the relation between textual descriptions and the corresponding visual representations. It's also capable of generating wide variety of images, including objects, animals, scenes, and even abstract concepts. At the highest level, DALI 2's works very simply. First, a text prompt is input into a text encoder that is trained to map the prompt to a representation space. After this, the model called the model's name is prior, it maps that text to a corresponding image that captures the semantic information of the prompt contained in the text. Finally, that image and decoder is going to generate images stochastically, which is a visual manifestation of this semantic information. This is from a bird's eye view, that's all there to it. Of course, there are plenty of interesting implementation specifics to discuss, which we will be covering later. DALI 2 is actually an advanced AI system developed by the OpenAI that is capable of generating realistic images and artwork from descriptions provided in natural language. This system has the ability to amalgamate various concepts, attributes, and also styles. One of the significant improvements in DALI 2 over its predecessor DALI 1 is its ability to generate images with 4 times greater resolution, thereby enhancing the realism and accuracy of the images. You can see the difference between the images. This is for DALI 1 and this is for DALI 2. In fact, when evaluators compared the two models, DALI 2 was the preferred choice. In terms of capabilities, DALI 2 can generate a wide array of images, ranging from simple icons and patterns to complex illustrations, artwork, and even photorealistic images and depictions of three-dimensional objects. It can produce various forms of art, such as realistic photos, cartoons, oil paintings, digital art, and pixel art. This versatility makes DALI 2 an invaluable tool for generating unique and high-quality images from the text prompts. Of course, that's the limitation. Thank you, Carrie. We are going to come to the limitations of it. Now, DALI does have a lot of limitations just like any other application in the world. So let's get to some of them. Difficulty in generating highly detailed images. DALL-E can actually struggle with generating images that are highly detailed or intricate. When given an ambiguous or unclear output, DALL-E cannot ask for clarification or additional information because it's not a human, right? So it must interpret and generate images based on the input it is given, which can sometimes lead to unexpected results. Maintaining a high level of quality in the images generated by DALL-E is another challenge. You have seen in the images before, even though DALL-E 2 is trained on much bigger model and provides high quality images, it still lacks in the reality. Now, like many AI systems, DALL-E can be influenced by biases present in the datasets used to train it. There are potential issues related to copyright infringement, as DALL-E could potentially generate images that are similar to existing copyrighted works. I guess that clarifies it. The computational resources required to generate images can also be substantial. Now, let us go on to some real world cases. Yeah. Copy AI is an AI marketing tool, and it has integrated DALL-E into their content creation process. They use DALL-E to generate visual content for their blog posts and media and website design. One significant use case is generating meta images, which represent each article when links are pasted into social networks. Next one is the ideating physical products. This is one of the most favorite use cases of mine. Paul Jacobian, the co-founder of Copy.ai, has been using DALL-E 2 to design physical products that he later manufactures. For instance, he used DALL-E 2 to design an avocado backpack, which was then custom made and shipped to his house. Just look at how cute it is. Wouldn't anybody else want that? Some individuals have also used DALL-E to generate digital art in seconds with an AI prompt. This has allowed them to experiment with different styles effortlessly. Now, creating custom art for printing stuff, making products, alternating stock images, designing infrastructure, designing logos, etc. are some of the examples of AI image generator. Some of the applications of AI DALL-E images is it is useful in creative industries because it can transform the way we create visual content from advertisement to entertainment. Nowadays, all the advertisers can actually use the system to generate highly realistic product images, while filmmakers and game developers can create stunning visual effects and environments. Imagine how easier that work is going to be made. DALL-E 2 can also be used to generate beautiful and neat visuals that can easily capture the audience attention. It can be used for social media content, print media, website and blog posts, editing images, and drawing ideas. It can expand images beyond what's the original canvas, creating expansive new compositions. DALL-E 2 can make realistic edits to existing images from a natural language caption. It can add and remove elements while taking shadows, reflections, and texture into account. It can also take an image and create different variations of it inspired by the original. It could be used to create realistic images for movies and video games, and it can also generate illustrations for books and magazines. Now, what might be some future implications of that? AI image generators have been improving rapidly, and they are now capable of producing fascinating results from written prompts. The future will likely see even more advanced and accurate AI image generators. Research is also being made to merge the two key tasks of image generation and recognition into a single system. This unified vision system is known as masked generative encoder, MAGE. This could be used for many things like finding and classifying objects in an image, learning from just a few examples, and also generating images with specific conditions such as text or class, editing existing images, and more. Generative AI models are also expected to have a substantial impact on marketing and software design and entertainment, etc., as we have just seen. And it can also be used for commercial use because there are the most radical new development in visual arts for sometimes. Now, AI has already changed the photography forever, and this trend is expected to continue. Like, I mean, you can literally ask DALL-E image generator or the AI image generator to work for us as the editing platform. We use a lot of editing platforms, right? We use Instagram, we have TikToks. All of this can actually edit the photos or videos we make. In the future, instead of us doing it, we can ask AI to do it just by a single sentence we speak. Now, Whisper. After all this image generation, Let us now explore about the science behind converting spoken words into written text and the myriad of applications this technology has in our digital world. Whisper is an automatic speech recognition system which is developed by the OpenAI. It is designed to convert spoken language into written text, and it has been trained on vast amount of data, which is both multilingual and it is also multitask data. All of this is collected from the web, of course. ASR technologies like Whisper has wide range of applications, including transcription services, voice assistants, real-time captioning, and more. It's particularly useful in situations where typing is inconvenient or impossible, such as when your hands are full, when you're on the move, or you have a difficulty or a disability that makes typing difficult. The underlying architecture of Whisper is based on the transformer model. Don't get too anxious because of the image. I'm just going to tell it up very simply. So, transformer model is a type of neural network, and it is known for its effectiveness in the natural language processing task. What happens is, whatever audio input is given to Whisper, it is going to create 30-second chunks of all of the whole audio. So, how many ever 30-second chunks we get, that is going to be transformed into a spectrogram. A spectrogram is a visual representation of the frequencies which we talk, and this decoder part is going to transform is trained to predict the text that corresponds to the audio. So after the whole encoder takes and trains upon it, then it is going to the decoder block. This decoder block is going to train and predict that responses to the audio. The model also uses special tokens to perform tasks such as language identification, speech to text translation, etc. Now, while Whisper performs well across diverse datasets, it doesn't outperform specialized models on a certain benchmarks. However, its strength lies in robustness and ability to handle a wide range of data and tasks, particularly in translating speech to text in different languages. Some real world case studies of Whisper include transcription services, where Mozilla Deep Speech, an open source ASR system available on GitHub, has been used for transcription services and voice assistants. Workspace collaboration is where companies like Gladia have considered using Whisper for workspace collaboration. They are using it for virtual meetings, content, and media, and also using it for call centers. And audio event tagging is somewhere it is called recognizing tags in between the audios. That is, understanding the audios in bits and pieces. So researchers at MIT and IBM Watson AI Lab have developed a Whisper 80, a model which is used for both ASR and audio tagging. There is no extra computational cost, of course, which is one of the limitations of Whisper. We will be seeing it in the further slides. Whisper 80 can actually recognize audio events in addition to spoken text in a single attempt. So that's how it does, and that too without extra computational cost. So it is also covering a big limitation here. Some more applications include virtual assistants, where it can be used to understand and respond to voice commands. Then Whisper can enable hands-free controls in various applications, allowing users to interact with devices using their voice. It can be used in speech analytics to extract insights from spoken language, and it can also, uh, you know, uh, work on low resource languages because it contains a multilingual knowledge, so it can be leveraged very simply. Next is speech translation. It can convert spoken words into one language to text in another, and it can also identify the languages being spoken in an audio clip. Some of the limitations of Whisper would be it's because it's an OpenAI model, it can be quite inflexible because we cannot directly leverage it. We have to, as I said, we have to use the OpenAI models to start leveraging into our own applications. Then Whisper's accuracy is not the same across all the languages and dialects, which means it may not be the best choice for languages with limited resources. For example, English, etc., are the languages which have a lot of data, but there are also some languages which have very less data, and working with those will also be a limitation for this. There's a possibility of including words and transcriptions that weren't spoken at all. Now, biases that arise from the training data can also affect the performance of Whisper. Depending on the model used, computer and configuration type, the processing time may also be excessive. So the computational time and the computational cost is also going to get changed. High in-house deployment costs. deploying Whisper in-house, that is inside our system, can be costly, especially for real-life professional use cases that require accurate ASR at scale. Still, we are also looking for some future improvements because Whisper can actually start some performance improvement because the recent improvement and the recent model of Whisper is actually 70x faster than the OpenAI's present code. So we are expecting a future performance improvement in that. And companies are in the process of building products around ASR where anyone can adapt these base models to their specific use case, because the data which is trained for Whisper is already very vast, and we can just add on some to it, which is going to help us. Next is improved architectures. Although scaling transformer encoders pose a great challenge, a breakthrough is expected to enable their scaling or a shift towards the architecture as in Whisper. With its high accuracy and ease of use, developers are expected to add voice interfaces to a much wider set of applications, just like Siri and Siri, etc. These advancements suggest that the future of Whisper will actually be characterized by increased integration of ASR, improved performance, and expanded applications across various industries. However, these advancements also bring challenges such as managing computational requirements, overcoming biases in data sets, etc. And they are still in the ongoing research and development, so we'll be looking forward to that. But of course, by seeing how fast and vast the OpenAI is working on these models, I guess it'll be Whisper will have a complete remodel by the end of this decade. Now, let us talk about some latest news. According to a survey by Microsoft, we have seen that millennials and Gen Z, these are the people who are driving the uptake of Gen AI with higher familiarity and earlier adoption, leading to greater excitement. A survey also tells that 87% respondents of the survey were actually worried about the risks like scams and deepfakes. Although encouraging it also has been found that most of the youth, that is 87% to 90% of the youth who use these Gen AI models, are talking to their parents about the online risks and also spreading awareness, which is both a good and bad thing. Yes, the term deepfake does remind me of another incident that happened lately with some deepfake images of the popular pop star Taylor Swift. All of them were bogus and insensitive, and although they have been removed, it did cause a quite stir and racked millions of views. Right? I guess you might have heard about that. And then I've already spoken about Jokebox, which is which is an AI generative AI model, which can create high fidelity music and all that. So yes, now I guess since there is still time, let us talk about some important API parameters. Now, till now, we have seen some aspects of how it is being worked, how Whisper works, how DALI works, how all these generative models work in the front end. But what lies at the back end, and how can we leverage these inside our applications? We have seen how we can install the API keys and get it into our applications. And we have also seen how we can make requests to the API. But then those requests also have similar variations, and some parameters can affect them into getting a greater accuracy. API parameters are the key to unlocking the full potentials of API. API is nothing but application programming interfaces. These allow us to customize the requests we send and responses we receive, making our interactions with APIs more dynamic and flexible. We will explore different types of parameters, how they influence the behavior, and how to effectively use them in your requests. First is we'll understand what API parameters are exactly. They are key value pairs, and they are used to specify the details of web API requests. They play a crucial role in defining the type and amount of data that an interface returns. For example, you have a website, you're going to take all the all the programming, you're taking it as an application programming interface, and you are going to take all the data from it. So that's how API is going to help. Understanding this effectively can help in retrieving precise data, thus optimizing the performance of API. APIs are essentially options that can be passed with the endpoint to influence the response. When you make a request to a web server, you can pass parameters to the API to tell it what data you want, how you want it to be organized, and how much you want, and more. For example, if you're using a weather API to get the weather forecast, what are you going to do? You might use parameters to tell API for which location you want the weather, and whether you want the temperature in Celsius or Fahrenheit, and how many days in the future you want the forecast for, etc. So the application or the client, that is us, are going to make requests, and this is going to the server or the data source from where the API is going to respond. Let us look at some important API parameters in brief. Yes. So when interacting with an API, parameters play a crucial role. They allow us to customize your requests and get the exact data you need. There are some parameters you might encounter when using the API. That is the model parameter first. This model parameter actually allows us to send an API request that specifies the machine learning model to be used for the task. Since we have already seen an example that we have taken GPT 3.5 as an example in our model. So you can see, I'll be putting all these examples in a highlighted mode so you can see the examples there. Next is the prompt. The prompt parameter is the input text that you want the model to respond to. For example, this the system role and the user role which you are going to give is the prompt parameter, which is also very necessary. Now, max tokens. The max tokens parameter defines the maximum length of the output text that the model generates. By adjusting this parameter, users can usually control the verbosity of the model's responses. If I ask it a question and if I want it to give it to me only in 100 words or 60 tokens, it is going to just end at that. So that is how we are going to get accurate or precise answers we want. For example, if you want an essay of 300 words, you're going to define a system rule that I need you to write an essay. In the user rule, you're going to give what information you want the essay on, and you're going to give the max tokens as 300, which is going to get you the length of that. Of course, 300 is just the characters, but if we want 300 words, we are going to have to put more characters into it. Next is the temperature parameter. This controls the randomness of the output. A higher value results in more random outputs, while a lower value makes it more accurate, deterministic, and focused. For example, we can use it like this. The range of the temperature parameter will be from 0.2 to 0.8. So 0.8 is like the higher value, which is going to make it more random, while 0.2 is a more lower value, making it more deterministic. We can use any value between these. Yeah. Next is the top P parameter. This is used for nucleus sampling in statistics. It is a method that takes models' output more diverse and creative. It specifies the cumulative probability cutoff for token selection. We can understand it simply because it states that it is going to make it more creative. If we do not want balanced outputs, you might have actually seen it in ChatGPT where it is going to give us a lot of, what do we say? It is going to give us 3 options to select from. Would you want the answers to be creative? Would you want them to be precise? Or would you want them to be balanced, like both creative and precise? So this is how the parameters are going to influence those answers. Next is the frequency penalty. The frequency penalty is used to control the frequency of the tokens in the output. A higher value is going to discourage the model from using the same token repeatedly, while a lower value can actually put that into balance. This can particularly be useful in tasks where repetition of words or phrases is undesirable. For instance, if we set a high frequency penalty while asking the model to write an essay about the future of technology, the model will avoid using common phrases like in conclusion, on the other hand, frequently, making the output more original. This actually discourages the model from using common phrases. Last one is the presence penalty. This can be used to penalize or favor tokens based on their presence in the input. The presence parameter penalizes tokens based on their presence in the input, and a higher value discourages the models from using tokens that are already present in the input. So it is going to give us new ones. The range of top P will be, yes, Anastasia has asked a question. What is the range of top P? It will be going from 0.1 to 0.9. I hope that clears it. Yeah. A higher value discourages the model from using tokens that are already present in the output. So we are going to get more novel and creative outputs here. This can be useful in tasks where the output needs to be different from the input which we give. This parameter discourages the model from using phrases from the prompt itself. For example, if we are going to give the model a prompt like, once upon a time in a town far away, and set a presence penalty, the model will try to generate text that doesn't reuse the phrases from the prompt, ensuring that it generates new content. We need to keep in mind that both these parameters range from 0 to 1. A higher value means a stronger penalty. Adjusting these parameters can help you fine-tune the output of the model to better suit your needs. Yes. So this brings to the conclusion of that. We can also see much more options, but yeah, I would like to stop it at this.
Okay, thanks, Kiranmay, for this wonderful jam-packed session. So I just put out a few links as resources, and we'll open it up for other discussions in a bit. So let me quickly share the screen. So thank you for joining the session, and just few resources before people need to leave, and this is our site. But for future meetups, you can have this link, and there are 6 meetup groups which we have for different aspects. We are part of Google Cloud as well, so you all can join that. Whichever meetup group is the thing. We are going to post back the recording message through all of this thing, and that will be posted into our YouTube channel. So you'll see our recording as we have done for the past videos as well. So feel free to refer back that, or within few days, we should have that and we'll communicate back. We are primarily focused into B2B trainings for corporates, but we also have public trainings catalog. So if somebody is looking individually to join something, there are these options which are present, and you can refer to those as well. So thank you for joining, and thank you a lot, Kiranmay, for this wonderful, very jam-packed content covering several API. It's a very amazing space and aspect which we can help, and it's continuously evolving. AI is taking the world by the storm. So I think hope all this was informative. I'm going to pause the recording.